Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlays Gaming, where today we are finally concluding the unfortunate side of Marvel Rivals, where today we are reviewing the worst duelists in Marvel Rivals. We've got 3 lined up like usual, so let's just get into it. First, let's talk about what Widow is supposed to do. She has a sniper rifle that deals 120 damage per shot, with damage fall off beyond 10 meters. She also has a scoped mode straight shooter, where she can zoom in, reduce fall off, and land more precise shots. For melee, she uses Widow's Batons, doing 45 damage per strike, and her mobility comes from her fleet foot. She can dash and make a powerful jump. Her close range ability, Edge Dancer, has the spinning kick that grapples to finish with a second kick. Then her ultimate, the Electroplasma Explosion, charges a blast that damages enemies and leaves a slowing plasma field. So yeah, on paper she can engage at range, pick targets and control space. But what's the problem here? The biggest problem is her survivability is to the floor. Her base health is only 250 HP, making her an extremely squishy duelist, and she has no self-healing. Now she sort of does, however it's not viable. She has no shield, no built-in defense tools. That means if she gets caught or dived into, especially by more mobile characters like Venom, she often just melts. She has very low HP, no defense, and is objectively probably the squishiest character in the game, never mind any other duelist. That's a huge liability for a DPS, especially in the chaotic team fights. The next issue is her damage. It is very unreliable. Her fire rate is slow, her kit demands very precise aim, and yes, her sniper rifle lets her hit for serious damage. But even a headshot, which can do up to about 240 on paper, does not guarantee a kill if the target is at full health or gets defensive. Switching between her rifle and melee isn't seamless either. Her Edge Dancer ability has a low range and a long cooldown. To make her damage work, you would need very high skill, very good positioning, and even then, she often outclasses by other duelists who are easier to use and more reliable. So let's talk about her ultimate, the Electroplasma Explosion. It's supposed to help her control fights. She explodes plasma, slows enemies, and applies vulnerability, but many players feel this ultimate just doesn't hit hard enough or doesn't provide enough impact, and the community agrees. People are unhappy with Black Widow. One player even called her one of the weakest characters in the game, and she needs a serious rework. Another Widow main said she's unable to one-shot alone, unlike other DPSs. Her reload shot speed is just too low. So is Black Widow the worst DPS in Marvel Rivals? Many players say yes. Her low health, lack of defensive tools, inconsistent damage, weak ultimate, and very high mechanical demand make her a very risky pick. And for some, it's just not worth it. Now, let's talk about Mr. Fantastic in Marvel Rivals. Well, on paper, he's flexible, tanky, and smart. But when it comes to pure damage output, many players argue he's one of the weakest duelists or DPS in the game. And here's why. The biggest and most glaring issue is that he is not fit for his role. Mr. Fantastic is classified as a duelist in game, but he plays more like a vanguard with a high maximum health for a duelist. He has got the highest health. His passive ability, Elastic Strength, lets him go into an inflated form where he gains bonus health and becomes tougher. So instead of being a glass cannon duelist who deals huge damage, he leans into a brawling durability, which means he doesn't fulfill the traditional DPS role very well. Now, let's talk damage, or the lack of it. His stretch punch, or normal attack, only deals 65 damage. That means it's not very good and quickly it bursts damage and is for squishier targets. While he's inflated, his damage increases and he can't use his other abilities in that form. That's a big trade-off. More health but less utility and fewer tools for combo plays. His base damage isn't as much as a lot of other duelists and plus his ultimate. His ult is just garbage click to your loss, and he lacks instant damage to even qualify for a DPS. Mid tank at best, probably in the same lines as Thor. Several say he doesn't do enough damage. His ultimate, Brainiac Bounce, is supposed to be the big playmaker. He leaps into the air, slams down multiple times, slowing enemies with each hit, but the reality is, many players say it under-delivers. Mr. Fantastic's kit isn't exactly tight either. For example, flexible elongation gives him bonus health of 75 when he dashes to a target, but it is 2 charges and a cooldown. His distended grip is supposed to pull enemies together, but the projectile is slow, and using it for damage feels very clunky. Balance changes have made things worse as well. In the recent patch, his inflated bonus health was reduced from 400 to 350. Players say that these nerfs have made him less fluid, and his burst and sustain are both compromised. I'm not surprised that the community is vocal either. Many have said that he's very hard to carry on matches, requires a good team and good healers to shine, his kit isn't well designed, he's half-assed DPS at best and mid-tank. They took away everything that they made him even somewhat playable. Less big form, less ults, he's borderline unusable now. So yes, Mr. Fantastic might look flexible, resilient and a bit smart, but when you pick him expecting big damage, he often just disappoints. He's too tanky and too buffy. He's too low damage for a duelist as well, and his ultimate doesn't do secure any kills. For many players, he doesn't just fill the DPS role well, he doesn't fit the game well. And lastly, we're talking about Blade in Marvel Rivals. He's hyped as a hybrid duelist, a vampire hunter with both melee and ranged tools, and powerful anti-healing. But despite all of that, a lot of players think he's one of the weakest DPS picks right now, and here is why. Blade is officially classified as a duelist. He has 350 HP, which is fairly high for a DPS character, and his design is meant to be flexible, where he can swap between a melee sword, the ancestral sword, and a mid-range shotgun, which theoretically gives him some serious damage and versatility. On top of that, he has anti-heal mechanics, making him valuable against heavy healing comps, but in reality, that kit comes to a major trade-off that holds him back as a pure DPS carry. Let's break down his damage. His sword deals only 24 damage per slash with 2 swings per second. That's not very bursty for a duelist who might want to trade kills quickly. His hunter's shotgun splits into shrapnel after 8 meters, and on paper, it can do a lot of damage up to 192 if every bullet hits the head, but that's very hard to land consistently. Plus, when he goes into Bloodline Awakening, his vampire mode, he can't use his shotgun, which severely limits his mid-range damage, so his hybrid is more of a double-edged sword. He can't reliably do high burst damage from both ranges at once. His awakened vampiric state gives Blade the ability to lifesteal, but also suffers reduced healing. This means he can't be healed by his teammates when he's in this strongest form. His trade-off is supposed to make him self-sustaining, but players report it's not working as intended. Blade is supposed to have 60% lifesteal, but all players seeing is far less, around 30, which is likely because his healing reduction is also impacting his own lifesteal. If your healing is weak and you're taking damage, you're not going to reliably survive extended fights, which undermines his DPS potential. Blade's ultimate, the 1000-fold slash, is a bit flashy. He dashes, deals 100 damage on impact, and then leaves behind a cyclone of pulse damages, and applies reduced healing to enemies. But the problem is, many players feel the anti-heal effect just isn't enough to justify. And it's not just the theory, the community is also calling Blade an underperforming DPS. Many say he's too complex to reach his full potential. Major bug is also that his actual lifesteal might be lower than designed, hurting his sustainabilities. His win rate is second to lowest in competitive, and others argue that his healing reduction is too weak to make him a true healing counter. Even without that, Blade loses his niche. All of these complaints point to the same issue. Blade potentially does a little of everything, but doesn't excel being a true DPS carry. So yeah, Blade may look cool, he brings unique flavor with his vampire mechanics and anti-heal, but in practice, many players think he's one of the worst DPS. His damage is inconsistent, his sustain is shaky, his ultimate is underwhelming, and his niche doesn't hit hard. But without further ado, everyone, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you found this educational. I do like making these videos. But without further ado, hope you have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you all in the next one, folks. Bye, y'all.
Yeah.